Welcome back everybody to the Crypto Ellis channel. In today's video, I'm going to be interviewing Jeff, the founder of TrustSwap. I'm going to be asking him some of your questions that you left in the comment section of this video right here. Some questions you asked me on Telegram and some questions you asked me on Facebook. If I don't ask him all the questions that you asked me, I do apologize. There were a load of questions to ask. I'm not financial advisor, so please always do your own research. I'm not paid, partnered, or affiliated with any of the cryptocurrencies mentioned in this video today. And if you didn't know, I've got a Telegram group that you can join for absolutely free. We've just hit 500 members in this group. In the group, the best benefit is that you get to know about the videos I'm going to be uploading here on the channel. So if I make a cryptocurrency gem video, you will know about that video before it goes live here on the channel. So then you can go and do your own research into that cryptocurrency gem and potentially buy it. Let's get into the interview. Cool. So we're recording. Welcome, Jeff, to the channel. Thank you for your time today. Much appreciated. If you guys don't know, I've known Jeff since around 2017/2018. We were meant to get in on a project together back then, but we both saw that the project wasn't right for the cryptocurrency space. And then we reconnected back in, I think, 2019 and around that time. And when TrustSwap was coming up in 2020, I got in contact with him as well. And yeah, since then, he's just been going higher and higher with TrustSwap, with all the other projects that are coming on the platform. It's just been amazing. Jeff, do you want to just introduce yourself?
Yeah, I think that's pretty good intro. I think it's a typical crypto story for a lot of people. Started a few years back, got hooked on the idea of decentralization, shifting the power back to the people, away from archaic structures. Whether you're a Bitcoin fan and moving, the Federal Reserve onto a decentralized system for the people, or what hooked me was Ethereum and moving essentially the entire global potentially economy and the way that finance and corporate structures can interact, moving that into a more decentralized, people-powered and people-focused ecosystem was really interesting to me, and that's what got me hooked. And then from there, the rest is history. Started a crypto group on Facebook with me and 12 of my friends. That quickly grew to 180,000 people and expanded to a bunch of other groups. And then just kind of led me down this crazy path of discovery of different working with a couple different projects, starting a couple different projects, and right now, full focus is on TrustSwap.
And last year you took over the other group as well, didn't you? I think it must have been probably the second biggest group in the crypto space.
Yeah, I'm trying to build up the empire right now. So it was the second most engaged cryptocurrency Facebook group called Crypto Coin Trader. There's a lot of them that have like 500,000 members, but it's just a bunch of spam links and referral links. So I'd say, the Crypto Coin Trader was the second best group. So got handed the keys.
That's what I like about those two groups. They've got a lot of interaction, because like you said, most of the other ones are just spam referral links and all that kind of stuff. Maybe you post something in those groups, you don't really get that much interaction. But in crypto investing, crypto and the other one, you get quite a lot of interaction in those groups. Mm-hmm. What I like about yourself, Jeff, is I don't know how to say this, but if I was to describe cryptocurrency to someone, it would probably be like you, because I've seen your Facebook and stuff. You've been traveling the world. You went and lived out in Bali for a few months. If I was to describe crypto to someone, I'd describe it as your story, kind of where you go backpacking, you try and defeat the global stuff, the banks, all that kind of stuff. You just try and defeat the government, and you try and go to where you want to go, and you do it all the way that you want to do it. And you go up to mountains and skiing and all this kind of stuff. I've seen a lot of your stuff on Facebook. It's just amazing.
Yeah, I think what crypto provides for me, from an the ethos of it, is essentially freedom. Freedom from traditions, archaic systems that no longer serve society, and old and outdated ways of thinking. And so I find in cryptocurrency, the digital asset space, you get a lot of people who have really interesting perspectives on life. So you do tend, and Bali was a huge hotspot for the cryptocurrency crowd, because people just said, I don't want to say that, the 9-to-5 mold is the wrong way to do things. Everyone has their own flavor of life,
sure.
But a lot of people had just broken out of, they started experimenting with, okay, well, what is possible in life? What can we do? What serves us the most? And, potentially decentralized people-powered money, and, the freedom to be able to live your life on your terms all the time. So I think these two things really intersect quite well and bring together a really nice group of people.
Yeah, exactly. What I'm really excited for with TrustSwap that you've got coming up next month is the mint feature that you're going to be bringing to TrustSwap. And also on this topic, the mint feature, I was wondering, when you have the mint feature, does that also protect against rug pulls? So when someone creates a coin, does it protect against them like rug pulling the coin, or is that something that TrustSwap can't really protect against because it's just the coin aspect and it's not like the whole part of TrustSwap?
For sure, yeah. So this is a really loaded question because there's 1,001 ways to do a rug pull. So creating a coin like Mint is essentially allowing somebody to create a cryptocurrency in seconds for free. That currency is going to be fully audited, and so you're going to save yourself, 50K on developers. You're going to save yourself, that combined amount on audits and about a month worth of time too. So that's very cool. And there's gonna be no, it's double audited, so you're not gonna have exploits. There's gonna be no hidden backdoors. So that in itself prevents some ways of exit scamming and rug pulling. Let's say the exploits or the hidden mint functions, things of that nature. What it doesn't protect against is liquidity pulls, and it certainly doesn't protect against teams selling their tokens, or just dumping them on the market. So Mint, the token generator, kind of plays into this kind of like three-part triangle or circle, however you want to visualize it, of security. So Mint is one part, the token locks are another, and the liquidity locks are the third piece. And so even if somebody locks, $10 worth of liquidity and $10 worth of tokens, like, well, we've done all three. It's like, well, no, even though you've checked the box, it doesn't mean you're secure. So what we're providing is essentially a full display that says, hey, here's the token that they've minted. Here are the parameters that they've used, because we actually still allow for teams to use mint functions if they so choose, because there is validity to that feature. But then it'll just be publicly available knowledge. In addition, we're going to say, hey, here's how many tokens were locked. Here's how much liquidity is locked. So it gives a holistic view on, the project security score, I guess you could say. Nothing is ever going to be 100% rug proof unless they're locking 100% of tokens, 100% of liquidity, and no mint function. And even then, you can't say anything is ever 100% secure, because the government gets hacked and Facebook gets hacked. But it's making it as secure as feasibly possible. Even Bitcoin can get hacked. You could in theory brute force one of the private keys. Very unlikely, but it's possible. So you can't say 100%, but you can give the the 99.99 kills 99% of germs type style thing. So that's what we're aiming for, and I think that's what we're able to deliver with Mint, the locks, and
So with Mint, have you had a lot of interest in this from like other people that you may know that are in crypto, that are wanting to make a cryptocurrency? Have you got a lot of interest of this? Is this why that TrustSwap have gone and created Mint, or was it just something you wanted to create anyway, ready for like future proof in the future of crypto and of TrustSwap?
For sure. Yeah, for sure. So, there's already been a lot of projects that have already mentioned, they said, hey, we're going to launch our project, but we're just going to wait till Mint comes out, so then we don't have to spend the money on developers and audits. It's going to make it so much easier for us. But that wasn't necessarily the reason why we created it. We didn't create it because people were asking for it. We created it because we saw a need in the market. Because, obviously we created the token locks and the liquidity locks. There's about $300 million worth of value locked in there right now. But what was missing was the piece of security, where how do we secure against contract exploits? How do we secure against the Mint functions? And so we were just kind of playing around with this idea in our heads for a bit, and it turns out the simplest solution is usually the best one. And so that was the token generator, and so Mint is what we're calling it. The smart launch.
Another question I've been asked quite a lot is about the staking. So people are asking, the allocation keeps going up. People are asking, is the allocation going to keep going up? So like the amount of tokens you need to stake to get into these different projects. And also with staking, someone's asked, once the pool is actually full, would people be able to create like an NFT token? So then they can create an NFT token and then actually go and like sell it to other people that want to get in on certain projects. I know you guys have done that in the past, but would that be something? Or maybe an NFT token to like swap the staking, someone's staking pool place?
For sure, yeah. So to start off, we have incrementally increased it over the last little while. It's gone from 3K to 3.5 to 4. It's staying at 4. So if you got 4K swap, boom, you're in. In addition, if you have 2.5K swap and you keep that for 60 days, you have a swap score of 2.5K. well, you're also in. So we make the barrier to entry is technically 2,500 swap if you just hold it for 60 days. And neither of those values are going to increase. So people can have the comfort of knowing they're always going to have the guaranteed allocations for our main launchpad projects. In terms of, this is a huge question, and I'm glad you asked it because everyone says,
Sorry,
what happens when the state?
Sorry, I
Yeah,
kind of
no,
get all my questions in one. That's
no,
that's
it's
my
good.
problem.
I mean, it's a good question. I just meant it's a huge question in terms of the community asks it a lot. And I think that it's really important to address it because there's a lot of confusion around it. Because they say, what happens when the staking portal fills up? Why are we going to want to hold swap? Why
That's
are we
the
going to
one I
want to buy
saw
it?
the most.
Yeah. So first off, the kind of the thing that you raised was as like a solution is the NFTs and the ability to tokenize your stake. So that is definitely something that we're working on. That isn't something that's going to be coming out in Q1. That will probably be Q2. So like Q2 of the year. But in the interim, because we anticipate that it will fill up probably before we come out with that technological solution, we're going to implement two other things. So number one is we're going to create another staking pool. And all this staking pool will do is it will give you a chance at allocation. So we're going to have the guaranteed pool. That's the main staking TrustSwap pool. You earn the rewards, the APY, that's all fine and dandy. And then over here, it's like, hey, but if you want an opportunity at the launch pad, we're going to do some lottery over here. So you can stake your tokens into there for this lottery. In addition, this is kind of a little bit side tangent to the question, but I think also important on the ethos of why, what are we going to do once the staking portal fills up? And when Smart Launch comes out, we need to realize how many tokens are going to be issued on Smart Launch, and 0.4% of the total supply of all these tokens. So you make a Crypto Ellis token, we're taking 0.4% of that and putting it into a farming pool. And the only way to farm that is by staking swap tokens. So we're going to see a ton of swap being staked into those portals. And I'm going to assume also people who see these portals and tokens that are doing very well and just giving away essentially money for free, tokens for free, they're going to purchase swap, they're going to stake it. So you got two really positive impacts on the token supply there.
Yeah. Another question here is, do we have an update on when the individual staking pools will be open? So I'm guessing that's something similar.
Yeah, so I'm assuming they mean the individual staking pools are those Smart Launch staking pools.
Yeah, it just says, the question just says, when will the individual staking pools be open? So I'm assuming that's what the question is.
Yeah, those are the only individual staking pools that we're working on, and because each individual token has its own staking pool. And I would anticipate by mid-March, I think is a very, very realistic guess for those to be live with Smart Launch and everything.
Yeah, and can the 12% APY be sustained, or will it get reduced soon? That's another question.
So it's actively being reduced. It's much lower than 12% APY now. As the staking portal gets fuller and fuller, we are going to gradually reduce those base rate rewards. Number one, the staking pool is giving you access to Launchpad's guaranteed allocation, which is a huge value proposition in itself. And then as we start to transition into other aspects, the staking pool is going to be accruing rewards naturally and organically. In addition, being staked in the staking pool will give you a bonus multiplier. This is a little bit abstract, but being staked in the main staking pool, the one that maxes out at 50 million, it gives you a bonus if you then go and stake one of those individual pools. So if you're farming one of those individual pools, you get a bonus because you're staking over here. So although, because yes, we're a deflationary currency, so you cannot continue to give away rewards for free for the rest of your project, otherwise you run out.
Yeah, exactly.
So the idea is those do reduce. We create other incentives for those stakers. And in addition, we create additional streams for rewards for those stakers. Two of those streams, one being Unimex, where we get 6.25% of all fees traded on Unimex, which is a decentralized margin exchange. And number two is shopping.io, which is essentially buy anything on eBay, Amazon, Walmart online with crypto. And we get 10% of all profits for 10 years. And that's all going to the staking pool.
So with those, when do you think TrustSwap will be generating fees for stakers through the stuff that you just mentioned, to Unimex, Swappables, and the other places?
Yeah, for sure. So with Unimex, the rewards have already been coming in. Unimex is still fairly new, so the rewards aren't substantial. I think it's maybe been $5,000 worth of rewards or something like that. Shopping.io gets handed out quarterly. So probably in a couple months from now, there'll just be a nice little drop on the stakers. And then in terms of swappable, that one is going to be coming out soon. I'm not going to publicly announce a timeline on it yet, but that's coming as well. And of course, as swappable comes out, something that's also going to be launching is kind of the upgrade of our escrow service. I think the big issue with our escrow right now is it's just not very user friendly. The UI is really bad. Let's just be real. And so Swappable is going to come out with a really sleek escrow service, and those fees are going to be going to the stakers as well. So lots of fees going to the stakers, but I think the main value prop right now is definitely the launch pads and the airdrops. Man, people are getting $500,000 airdrops all like on the regular. So I think the APY in there, when you factor in launch pads and the airdrops by themselves, not bad.
I think a lot of people forget about the airdrops, that just holding the token gets you some airdrops to some different cryptocurrencies.
Yeah,
a lot of people forget about that. Speaking of swappable, someone's asked here, can you talk a bit more about swappable and what it is? And then obviously you said you're not going to fully announce when it does go live, but what kind of time frame are we looking at?
Yeah, so Swappable, essentially NFT marketplace. NFTs, I'm shocked at how hot they are right now. It's unbelievable. Some of these crypto punks, I don't know if you've seen those. One just sold for $1 million yesterday. I
think Logan Paul just broke the record, I think a week ago or a few days ago.
Few days ago, I think he sold, what was it, $5 million worth of NFTs in like a 1 hour period or something. It was insane. So NFTs are just, they're happening right now. People like Mark Cuban, Gary Vaynerchuk, they're getting on the NFT train in a big way. And so we're going to, have essentially an exchange for NFTs and also for ERC20 OTC deals. So pretty simple. I'm not gonna ramble on too much. I could talk about it for years, but that's kind of the overall picture.
What time frame are we looking at? I don't think.
So
I know you said
assuming
you're not going to release the actual time frame.
I would say public beta, Q1 2020. I believe that is on our public roadmap as well. So probably in March, we'll have the public beta ready to go.
This next question is the one that actually got most voted up on the YouTube comment section. I don't know if people just missed the answer to this, but you've talked about creating a platform that can survive a bear market. They're asking if you can go into more details about this.
Yeah, for sure. This is a really good point. So just to kind of give a little bit of context on, what doesn't survive a bear market, if TrustSwap's only value proposition was launch pads and that's all we did, well, there's a lot more projects doing raises in a bull market than there is a bear market. So if you're a project like, not to name names, but PokeStarter, you're going to have a really tough time in a bear market unless you diversify what you are doing as a company, because they're a one-trick pony currently. And so I think, if you go to TrustSwap's website or just like look at the suite of services we have, we're incredibly diversified. We're building out a ton of products that are very bear market resistant. So we're going to be around no matter what. So I'm quite pleased with how we've positioned ourselves to weather any volatility.
A project that really comes to my mind from from the bear market was Substratum. So a really up and coming cryptocurrency project that was going to change the internet as we know it. And as we came into the bear market, they just slowly went away, had some problems, funding was gone. And by the time the bear market's over, Substratum's just completely gone. So I think a lot of people are probably asking to make sure that doesn't happen to TrustSwap.
For sure. Yeah. And I think you need to look at, who does the best in a bear market. And the answer is exchanges generally, like Binance. Because it doesn't matter if the price is going up or the price is going down, people are trading.
Winning. Yeah, exactly.
And so, for example, just a really easy, comparison to draw, we have Swappable. So that's also an exchange. Boom, boom, you can trade. We have, TrustDex is already built. We're just sitting on it right now because we really want to hone in on what we are currently working on before we release more products. Then, of course, OTC deals, doesn't matter if it's bear market, bull market, that's there's always massive amounts of capital trading hands. And so the OTC marketplace is going to do a fantastic job of that. And then token generator, everyone's always going to be creating tokens. There's a lot of stuff. I won't go through the whole list, but we're fairly bear market resilient for sure.
With the TrustSwap decentralized exchange that you guys are planning on building, when that actually comes around, if you guys have enough volume on it, would you start suggesting to the Launchpad projects to start listing their cryptocurrencies on your own platform, or would you still suggest for them to go to Uniswap?
It would essentially be well, what it is, it's a layer two on top of Uniswap.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, it allows for more functionality. So, you list on Uniswap and boom, you're already on TrustX.
Yeah. And with
Yeah.
Uniswap getting their layer twos like sorted out now and they're coming in the next few months, are you guys planning on staying on Uniswap for all the listings, even though the fees are still pretty high at the moment? Or would you guys consider going to another platform for maybe a couple months until layer two does come out?
Yeah, and you got to stay agile in this kind of thing. And so right now, a lot of the focus is still on Uniswap.
Yeah.
Obviously, QuickSwap is a really nice alternative, which is on Matic, or now they're rebranded as Polygon. And so that's feeless trading. Unfortunately, not a lot of people are using it right now. But I think there's a little bit of user friction, and the way that their explainers aren't set up very well for sleek user onboarding. So I think they have some work to do there before they can really start to get some adoption. But the bottom line is we're staying agile, and what we'd never want to do is just say, hey, we're exclusive to ETH. You
Yeah.
can launch it on ETH, you can launch it on Matic, or Polygon, you can launch it on top of PancakeSwap, you can launch it on a ton of things. And that's really what we're focusing on, is cross-chain compatibility. And I think people are going to be very excited to see once Smart Launch comes out, like not only the token locks, liquidity locks, and the token generator. We have a lot of cross-chain
Yeah.
compatibility that's going to be rolling out pretty much within the first couple weeks of Smart Launch. So expect to see at least 2 other blockchains, and that's a nice little leak for you guys.
This next question, you kind of like described it throughout the whole interview, but how would TrustSwap prepare for potential downturns if Launchpad projects start to dry up? So I know you've got loads of different aspects. So it's kind of like the bear market kind of question, similar to that.
Yeah, I mean, it's always 80-20 rule. Like, you put the 80% of your results come from 20% of your stuff, or
Yeah.
from your work. And right now it's launch pads. And so we're just really, I mean, we're focusing on a lot, but we're really doubling down on launch pads because, that's what people are just asking for. So that's what we're giving them. Um, you know, I think the biggest thing is just being agile and realizing what's happening in the market conditions. It's impossible to guess. For example, Swappable comes out, and a bear market hits. Okay, but then how useful are still NFTs in
Yeah.
terms of, a lot of musicians are coming in, bringing NFTs into music. I'm really a huge advocate on bringing like traditional financial services, say like invoices and billing, and like real tangible assets
Yeah.
into NFTs. And that's very bear market resilient as well, because if you're, essentially turning an apartment building that's worth $300 million into fractionalized NFTs, well, that's bear market resilient, because people always need liquidity. So that's, I would say, kind of in the back of the mind, that you got to stay agile, you got to watch for the trends, you got to just continue building out your product suite, and going deep on it. So that's probably the plan. It's a little bit vague of an answer, but yeah, we're just staying on our toes.
Yeah. What projects are you bullish on at the moment in the cryptocurrency space? It's not like a question down here. It's just a question from me.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot. I'm not gonna do the big shill right now, because
No.
I'd exclude a few projects. I'd
or
be like,
maybe
Jeff, come
maybe
on.
maybe the better question would be like, what are you most bullish about? So like, is it
Right.
NFTs? Is it layer two? Is it other things that aren't even out yet that you may know about?
I think what I'm the most bullish on, to be honest, is, and this is like kind of a roundabout way of saying it, I'm the most bullish on companies adding Bitcoin to their balance sheets. That to
Yeah.
me is like, that's the best development that can happen right now. And also, we see in Florida, they're starting to accept Bitcoin as payments for tax. These are the kind of things that really make me bullish. Not so much like, oh, hey, here's this cool new DeFi project, has 101 farming pools. It's like, sure, that's bullish because you get a quick 100x, but I feel like that's a big game of hot potato. You go from this project, it pumps, it dumps, this
Yeah.
project
Yeah.
pumps and dumps. What we need is this like really sustainable growth. And Square just bought, what was it, $175 million worth of Bitcoin today on the dip.
Yeah. Exactly.
That is the kind of stuff that you love to see, because it's creating this stable floor of mainstream acceptance and support. And as other companies, publicly traded companies, see this, they're starting to want to get in as well. I've already had a few publicly traded companies approach me and say, hey, how can we add Bitcoin to the balance sheet? So the interest is coming in waves, and that's where I'm the most bullish, is people starting to realize that, as the US government prints more and more and more money, Bitcoin just becomes a very natural and almost it's logical, and you can't not do it to protect your value, because if you're just holding cash, your purchasing power just declines very rapidly over time.
It's great because like DipSide today, there's no need to be that worried, because the crypto people know that these big companies are just waiting for these kind of dips to buy it all up, and then they're just going to push it back up to 50K, 60K, and even higher.
Yeah. I mean, that ideally, does it go back down to 20, back down to 10, back down to 3? Anybody's guess. But I think over time, you know, the trend overall on the macro scale is very evident.
Yeah, and it's one of those that people have seen what Bitcoin can do now. So even if it did go down to 3,000, you'd have the people that have got capital on the side ready to purchase it all at 3,000, in my personal opinion anyway. Just because it's got to a certain point now in the world where people know about Bitcoin, they know what it is and they know what it can do. Instead of like 10, 15 years ago when the people just like, they didn't know at all what Bitcoin was.
Yeah, for sure. I think the 2017 big parabolic move brought, I would say, the majority of retail in. You know, there were other parabolic moves, you know, like it went over 1,000. It was like, oh man, that's huge. But that was not retail. That wasn't really on the news. 2017, it exploded. And then everybody weathered the storm. And now that it's taken a second wave and it's broken that 20,000, people are realizing, okay, this is not going anywhere. This isn't going away anymore. You know, it goes to 20K and then it dumps.
Yeah.
You know, I think a lot of people were thinking, okay, you know, maybe that was the end of cryptocurrency. It was just this big up, and now it's over. ETH hasn't scaled. Like not much institutional interest. Now that's all changed, and it's not going anywhere. So I'd agree with you that it's a hugely different sentiment now.
So the last question I've got here is, do you plan on doing more acquisitions, and in what area are you looking to do those most in at the moment?
Yeah, well, we're always actively pursuing acquisitions. Probably in the last month, I've taken about five shots at more acquisitions. And, you know, they range from our competitors to things that we might want to branch off into. So, you know, I can't add too much color there, but we're always looking to, you know, provide acquisitions and also synergies. So yeah, long story short, yes, definitely always looking to grow. The idea is to build an empire, not an empire in terms of this, you know, big oligarchy, you know, monopoly style thing. But more so just, you know, this is the go-to, and, you know, people can trust this, people know it, it has brand recognition. And hey, if you want to do something in terms of payments, in terms of, you know, minting tokens, in terms of transactions, I'm going to TrustSwap. I'm going to go through the quick little easy to navigate thing. So that's the idea.
Yeah. Final thing. So what are you most looking forward to with TrustSwap over the next year?
Smart launch. Not even close.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not even close.
Is there anything else you want to mention about TrustSwap that you got coming up?
I
think we've covered most of it.
We've covered a lot.
Ending of the interview.
We're going to have our roadmap updated on the website within the next week. So people can look forward to seeing that. It's quite robust, especially in Q1 of this year, which means the next month and a half. We got a lot coming out. And I think probably the biggest thing to highlight that was maybe a little Easter egg before, but I feel like I should reiterate, is Smart Launch is going to have multiple cross-chain compatibility. So you're going to be able to mint tokens, lock liquidity, and lock the tokens and create a secure ecosystem, not just on Ethereum, but on multiple blockchains, and then create farming pools for these tokens on multiple blockchains. So I think, you know, people can just kind of speculate on, you know, what does that mean when that happens, and where does that put TrustSwap on the grand scale of cryptocurrency projects, when effectively we've mitigated scams and rug pulls to a very high degree of certainty. Of course, nothing is ever 100% certain. But I think it's going to be something very substantial, and we've completely eliminated the barrier for people to launch ideas into the world. You know, mint your token, takes a minute, 5 minutes max, and you're in.
Yeah, I'm very excited with what TrustSwap's got coming up. Don't forget, guys, you can follow TrustSwap on all of their links. Most of the links will be down below. And the Telegram is a perfect place for you to go and ask Jeff. Sometimes he's in there, and other people in the Telegram questions about TrustSwap. Jeff, you got any closing statements?
No, that's good. I appreciate the interview. The first thing
Thanks
that
for
popped
coming
into my
on.
head was just like, yeah, for sure, man. People just people need to read. It drives me crazy in the Telegram groups, all the questions, but
Yeah.
I shouldn't have said that. I appreciate the community immensely.
I feel like most of these questions I brought to you today are like questions that have already been in the Telegram group or in AMAs,
Yeah,
but it's one of those that people just want to hear it again on a video, and they just want to be able to see it like in an
for
interview.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. Different forms of mediums are the key. People digest information differently, and so I appreciate the time. And I've hugely appreciated you. You've been one of the longest term supporters of TrustSwap since the beginning.
Yeah.
Probably since like back at the 5 cents days, maybe even a little bit before. And yeah, so I appreciate it a lot.
Yeah, it's been a great ride. And
For
yeah,
sure.
it's gonna be even better over the next year. Thank you so much, Jeff, for coming on. Guys, I'll see you tomorrow in the next video. Thank you very much.